Okay, so today we're going to put the rear differential together. This is section D of this book. Now, so just like on the front diff, the rear diff is basically all the same, except you have this locker right here, and then it'll just slide into here. All right, so I could put some oil in here. It does have the O-rings to seal it. I probably will, because, you know, in case I get into some water or whatever, I need to take this apart for any reason, then it won't get all rusted to the plastic, the locker. Alright, so first things first, we have this O-ring right here, really teeny thing. This goes into the bottom. And just like the last one, goes down inside this groove. Alright? Then, now this time I'm not going to forget, there's this shim washer. This goes down the bottom as well. Okay, and getting that where it belongs can be a bit of a challenge. Right? Okay, so then we just put the locker piece in, like so, and on the other end we do, on the ring gear here, we do the same thing. We have our O-ring, right? That goes right in there, and then we have our shim, goes right there. Now this is a point where a person may want to take like a dab of grease, just stick it around here, which I think I'm going to. I used some of this high pressure grease that came with the Rock Ray. And the only reason why I'm doing this is to hold this washer in place while I'm working with it. Just a dab here, just a little bit. It's going to be hard to see for me to show you because it's a black pinion, black grease, but kind of goes like so. And while I'm trying to manipulate this to go into the differential housing here, it will help it to stay in place. Alright, so we have our gasket. Take a screw, stick it through, take a second screw. This will hold the gasket in place. Well, come on, these little screws. The hardest thing about this is handling these little screws, I swear. Alright, so I got these two screws in. So this is the part where I said I was going to put some lube in. So I'm going to use this 1000 weight in here. I'm just going to put some in here. I'm not going to fill it all the way, obviously, because I don't need to. But as I'm running the car, this will get like everywhere inside, so alright, kind of like that. Then we make sure our washer is where it belongs. Pretty darn close. Okay, so something like that. I believe it's this driver. Nope, missed a hole. We'll get this one started, just like on the front one, like that. And the other one. Get this tightened down. Make sure it's seated well. The low-C was a bit of a challenge when it came to that. And be careful not to over torque. Very little screw heads, and it's going into plastic. So, all right. So then we just put in the other two. Once you get two of these lined up, started on this particular situation, it's okay to tighten them down and then go on to the rest. Only because this cup right here sits into a groove in the pinion, so it, you know, once two screws are lined up, it'll go into a little notch and it's not really going anywhere. So chances of everything lining up and fitting is a lot better. Okay, double check them all. Because we want these to be tight. Alright. There you are. One completed carrier assembly. Alright, so that's done. Now we gotta go on and work on the drive shaft, assembling that. The rear. Okay. And this is a mistake I made on the low-C, and the instructions told me to do was I did not Loctite the screw going into here. Even though these were already assembled, and one of them felt like it was already Loctited, but I guess not. So I had one axle come apart on me. This drive shaft is designed just like the axles on the low-C, so with that, I mean, you know, it's very similar. Okay. All right, so there you are. It just pushes in like that, and according to the instructions we use, screw something like that. So this time I'm not going to make the same mistake twice, so as I get the right dang driver. Okay, so there's like 4 different sizes on this truck versus only 3 on the other one. Alright, so that's the size. I almost need like one more of these handles, don't I? Maybe I'll get one more. Anyway, so get some Loctite on it. Now I only use blue because I want to be able to take it apart if I have to. And hopefully I'm lined up in the hole here. There we are. Okay, that part's together. Alright, so on to the next is assembling the CV unit, and there's some grub screws in here. One of them has to go in the end, and it's really small, and I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's that one. Okay. Here again, we're going to put some Loctite on here. This is metal on metal. Put it in the end of the cylindrical thing. Okay. This is just to hold the pin in place. So now, put this in the end of the drive shaft. Turn it, line it up so that when we go to put this in, we can line up the pin. And sometimes, especially if you have no nails, it's really difficult. This is where, when your tools are magnetized, it helps, because it's obviously steel. Now it's stuck in my hand. There we go. Alright. Okay, making sure we're all lined up still. Okay, so the pin goes in like that. And with this pin centered, then we can go ahead, turn this, and it gives you just enough room to get this driver in here to lock it in place. Like I said, just enough room. Don't over torque it. It's got Loctite on already. So, alright. And there's nothing worse than stripping them out. I have some MIP axles that I'm going to have to get new screws for, because I went a little crazy. Alright, so instead of the black grease like the instructions say, I'm using motorcycle chain lube. And for the same reasons I already explained once before, is I figure if it'll stay on the chain and resist water and whatnot, then it will most likely stay on your driveline. And grease will just collect so much dirt and grime that, you know, that's no good either. Alright? Alright. Just going to let that sit a little bit before I put this ring on. Which is basically another precautionary measure to make sure that the pin don't come out. However, I think I may have made a mistake. It's going to be kind of a bugger to get on now. I may have to take this screw back out, which I think I'm going to, so I can get this ring in there. Okay, so here it is. One complete unit. We got the lock ring on. I did this off camera because this part, sliding it up and over, can be a bit of a challenge, so I did that off camera. Alright, so that part's done. We're going to do now, there's a couple grub screws here. because when this goes into the pinion, use the right one. That it locks from two sides, so you know it kind of like pinches it together. So we got a little bit of Loctite on here. Just get them started. That is all. So we go put the whole differential together. That's where we're going to be cinching these down. Okay, it's like that. All right, so we're going to put the carrier together now. The carrier is going to have a couple small bearings, one on the outside, one on the inside. So I'm going to put this one here in on the inside, outside I mean, in, and I'm going to take a dab of grease, put in between these bearings, because there is a cavity in between, help keep the water out. Okay, more than a dab. Alright, crap load. How about a crap load of grease? Stick that in there. And I guess I misjudged. And then put the inside bearing in right here. Okay. Now, then we got our pinion gear. This goes in here, like so. We'll wipe off the excess grease. Alright. And then these larger bearings, they go on the outside of your carrier unit. Okay. And they're supposed to be a tight fit. Some of them are a really tight fit. Okay. Some of them use a little bit of a coaxing. So what I do is I just take a socket. Not that one. That wasn't the one I used last time. Most likely this one. Just push down until it bottoms out like that. Okay? Alright. So here again, you need to take and pay special close attention to the orientation of the picture of the instructions. The instructions say that with these two holes facing up, that, let's see, the differential needs to go in like that. It'd be really frustrating, like I said, if it got all together and, you know, front wheels are spinning forward and back wheels are spinning backward. So, alright, so now that's in. Take some more of this black grease. Put it around here. Alright, just spin around a few times. Good job. Alright. Okay, so then we put this rear cover on right here, and like so. It's for these screws with the long ones that go in here to hold that together. Alright, and then just tighten them down. Just like the front, there were no shims for the pinion gear. We need to tighten it 2 corners opposite each other. That way everything seats equally. A little shaky today. These are some pretty long screws, so which is a good thing. I mean, you want it to go all the way through and hold. And with this being like basically a 4-piece differential, I mean, that in itself, I mean, leaves a host of weak points, you know. And last one. Alright, careful not to over torque. There again, some really small screws there. So now that's together, I'm just gonna put a little bit more of my chain lube stuff in. I mean, why not? Okay, then we can just put the cover on. And yeah, it's gonna leak out, and that's fine. I mean, some of it will, until it dries, because it does dry. Like I said, it will leak out a little bit. I could be like totally wrong with the chain loop thing, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out with time, right? First time I take it apart because there's been way too much mud, water, or whatever. We'll see if it did what I hoped it'd do. I'm just not like a big fan of marine grease. It's too thick, too sticky, too much resistance in my opinion. Okay, that's done. Everything's spinning just the way I want it to. Okay, it's nice and smooth. At least for now, right? Okay. So, moving on. I'm going to put these axle tubes together. There's a couple brackets that go on top, but that's really not a big deal. That's for the top links. I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory, right? But they did dedicate a whole picture to that, so. Okay. So, I guess what we got here now is 4 bearings. One goes on the outside, right here. And then we have the spacer for the long end. Okay, pay attention to the picture. Would I always preach that? I do, don't I? Yeah. Alright, so there's an inner and outer bearing here. One bearing is right there. The other one right here. It slides in like so. And that's how that goes. So, when I don't overcomplicate it, it works a lot better. Okay? So, now we do the other side. Bearing here. After thinking about it, why would you want another bearing on the outer side? Because that goes at, you know, one end of this goes right into here, and there's a bearing right there. So. Okay. Bearing here. Spacer. Slide in the hole. We're good. So now I suppose you're all going to ask me, well, what are you going to do to weatherproof that? I said, well, I'll just take some more of this chain lube here. Spray it in the hole. That way it's got some protection in between the bearings. Not perfect, but some. Okay. And I'll do the same with this one. Back in the hole. Alright. Now we're good there. Alright. Okay, so now we can just take our hexes. This will hold everything in place. And our cross pins. Stick that in like that. Center that pin. Put the hex on. Like that. Take one of these wheel nuts. Just spin it down with my fingers. I'll hold all that in place. I didn't do that on the front, and I was getting really frustrated. I couldn't figure out why I was so frustrated. And then I go, oh yeah, well if I put these on, it won't be a problem. Alright, so off camera, I went and I put the right side together here for you. Got the lower link, top link, and now I'm just going to show you how it went together. Okay, so let's go ahead and just stick this in here like so. And the trickiest part to this part is getting these screws lined up. So you may need to pull it out a little bit. Screw in there a little bit farther so you can see where the hole is. And get it lined up so it'll start the threads. And here again, like the differential carrier, once you get, actually with this one, once you get one screw started, the rest of them should go and all the holes will line up. So you don't have to do the, leaving one loose to see if, in order to get everything together. Okay? Okay. In this case, I'm leaving that one. I'm not tightening it down all the way. It's almost there, but because I'll go around it again, make sure. Opposite corners. Okay, now I can tighten it down. Okay. Alright, we'll get these other two in. We'll put the links in on this side. That'll be it for the differential assembly. In. Going to be one of these shorter screws right here. The biggest challenge to this is to get it lined up in the hole. Stick the screw through. Make sure it's facing the right direction. Pay attention to the orientation of the picture. Make sure it's facing the right direction. Careful not to cross thread. Okay, so the screw on the other side, maybe I didn't notice this, one is a little bit longer. So the screw on the other side over here is a little short. It doesn't quite reach the nylock part of the nut. So I'm going to remove that one. There's one here that's just a wee bit longer. Where'd it go? There it is. Just a wee bit. You can see that. So we use this one. Put it back. There, that's better. I like that. I don't know if you can see where the nut actually went past right there. So to lock the or the bolt went a little past, so it'll lock the nut in place. Alright, so that's the bottom links. Top links, we use one of these screws with a washer. Right? So it doesn't matter so much on the orientation of this one. It's basically the same at both ends. So, crap. Sometimes you just need 3 hands, right? Okay, and that's that for that. Our next step would be to put this differential on here. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over and thinking, oh, you know, I forgot to put this on. Alright, so let's do that. And these are real small grub screws, remember. And it's not that one. It's this one. Make sure that the grub screws are lined up with the flat part of the pinion. Okay, don't over torque, you don't need to. Alright, look at that, smooth. Alright, so that's in. Now we put the top links in. Okay. Alright, there we are. What do you think? Starting to look like a truck. I think I said that in the last build. Now, there's 2 holes right here for these links to go in. Up here I decided to put in the lower one. I may end up changing that. Depends on, because of like torque twist or whatever. I want it to be as straight on as possible. I don't want it to be like torquing when it's down. There, you can see a little better like that. When it's down like this, and then, you know, have one of these buckle on you. So, alright. Alright, so next time we're going to work on some shocks. I did not cover it on the Losi, but we'll build some shocks in real time. I'll probably have a couple already done, but we'll go through the other two together and get moving on with this thing. Alright? Alright, thank you for watching, everybody. Go outside, have a great time. Thank you.